Well, this happened.
Let's talk about that. Good mythical morning.
All right, if you've been listening to Ear Biscuits, our audio-only podcast that comes out every Friday afternoon, you already know that we have been paddleboarding or surfing on paddle boards.
I would go so far as to say that we are avid paddleboarders and aspiring surfers.
Semi-professional?
No, surfing from paddleboards. Nowhere near semi-professional. And once you get into your Band-Aid story, which we will get into that, I want to hear all the details and up into the point of you choosing to wear that particular Band-Aid. I want to get into all this, but
okay.
if
you got a problem with it?
Like Rhett said, if you would already know if you're an Ear Biscuits listener, thank you to all of those of you who are Ear Biscuit listeners, you know that I cracked a rib while learning to surf on my paddleboard.
How did that happen?
I was also, you got to listen to the episode.
But I want to tell that one from my perspective because I feel that.
Oh, you do? Right now?
Yeah. Okay, so what we do is we've got these big paddle boards. They're 11 and a half and 12 feet long, respectively. That's a big board. And we were told, you know what guys should do? You should surf with these things. You shouldn't just paddle around. You should paddle into a wave and surf it.
Well, I've seen people do it. It looks like fun.
Yeah, so let me say that we have successfully done this. You may have seen us on the Mythical Show do it unsuccessfully, but since then we've gotten pretty okay, not semi-pro. Occasionally we will actually catch a wave. I saw Link, I'm out past the breakers. I see Link going in towards the shore. I'm like, oh, there he goes. He's catching another wave. And I saw you kind of go over the end of the wave, and then I saw you go forward. And then I saw your 11 and a half foot board go directly up in the air. And then I saw it come down just like that into the water. And when it hit the water, I heard boom.
You heard
like
something.
A hollow, like boom. And I was like, that's not the sound of a surfboard hitting water. Typically, it would be.
That's the sound of the surfboard hitting me right here.
Yeah, and I was like 50 feet from you, and I heard it through the water, I heard it above the water.
If it would have hit me on the head, it could have killed me.
Yeah, and you didn't crack the rib. Which one was it?
It's up here, but it's
is it fixed?
I mean,
now?
that was weeks ago, so yeah. When I think
it's been mended.
It hurt for 6 weeks. That's why I knew it had to be some sort of cracked rib. You also know from Ear Biscuits, you can hear the whole story. We're not going to retell it of being heckled by teenagers,
high schoolers,
while
heckled by high schoolers.
And then a few times ago, we went out. Here's my board, just for reference. This happened.
That's not supposed to be the shape of the board. It's supposed to continue on that way. So again,
I broke my board in half.
Similar situation. I see Link going over a wave, and I'm like, there he goes, catching another wave. Look at the Linkster. I call him the Linkster when we're surfing because, I'm like, you become
my surf name.
You become the Linkster when you're out there.
It.
And then I
love it when people call me the Linkster.
I see the Linkster go over a wave, and then I see the Linkster carrying his board to the shore. And usually when you're carrying a board, like you see it like coming out this way, and then in front of you, I would see it going back that way.
Yeah.
But I saw from behind that the board was going out this way on this side of you, and then it was going back that way on the other side.
And then it was kind of waggling.
And I was like, well, something happened. Did you get attacked by a shark?
It was still hanging together by a few fiberglass threads. It wasn't two whole pieces. So we get up there to the parking lot, and I'm passing all these high school kids who are going to their surfing class.
Bullies.
What happened to your board? What happened to your board? I'm like, well, it's a prototype. Would you like to trade? It's cutting edge materials here. The way this thing
cutting edge.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got cut.
You literally cut yourself on
an edge.
Yeah.
And so we get up there. You come up there. I'm like, I don't know what happened. It was just a fluke of a thing where I went off the back because I didn't want to get another poof into my rib cage. So I went off the back of the board. It takes a nosedive without me this time. It's just a fluke thing that happens. It nosedive and then the wave just bent it over. It wasn't a huge wave.
There's a lot of leverage on a board that long.
So we get it up there. We're trying to figure out how to transport this floppy 11-foot board home on the roof of the car with the other board. and we conclude
You gotta break it.
we got to break this thing in half.
Yeah.
So we put it down on the asphalt, and I'm bending the whole thing over, and then we're stomping on it, trying to get it to break.
Well, it's just the hard fiberglass outside that was holding on. We had
Right.
to snap it.
And so we're like laying everything we've got into it. And all of a sudden I hear, "You can fix that." I look over, and there's a guy dropping his kid off at the class, opening up the back of his SUV to get out his board or something.
You can fix that.
I'm like, dude, we're sitting here, we're maiming it to death. Like, we're putting it out of its misery. I think we've gone too far. And I was embarrassed. I don't know. I was just convinced that it was my fault.
But then the kid who was there with the dad is kind of looking, and then he kind of takes a couple steps forward, and he's like, "Rhett Link?"
We're like, yeah.
He's like, "Can I get a picture?"
We're like, well, you caught me at a good time.
And so there's probably a picture out there somewhere on social media.
Me holding the front half of the board, looking all
Link with
defeated.
the Linkster with half of a board. Okay, and then now...
so none of this involves your nose.
You know, first of all, I've been riding high, man. I mean, I don't fall that often. I see the Linkster go over the waves. I go and check to see if the Linkster's okay. But the Rhettster, can I call myself the Rhettster? Is that okay?
Sure.
The Rhettster has been doing great. But this most recent
You're doing
time...
okay. I mean...
we were out, and the waves were kind of big, and I thought to myself, you catch a wave in, and then you got to get back out, and these boards are so big, you can't do the duck dive, go beneath the wave.
On your board.
You kind of have to like get off of your board and like hold your board up, and if a really big wave is coming, you got to kind of get off of your board quickly, and so the wave
You have to duck dive without the board.
Right, the wave is coming in, and the surf is going out, and I'm in this surf, and I think, okay, I'm in like 3 or 4 feet of water, right? And there's a big wave coming. I got to dive off of my board. I got to get under there. All I remember is soon, like, I thought I was in this much water. I was in this much water.
Ah!
Like, as soon as my face broke the surface of the water, it broke the surface of the sand. And just, and I came up, and I was like, I'm dying. I've broken my nose. I'm going to be bleeding. The sharks are going to start coming. But it turns out
all these things.
Turns out I just kind of skinned it right here in this area. And you saw that. You said it was
Well, you
bleeding
didn't.
a little bit.
You finally get out there to where I'm at. You're like, am I bleeding? I'm like, no. I couldn't tell because the water was washing it off. But then on the drive home, I could tell that there's a good amount of blood coming from that area.
Yeah, it's pretty intense scab.
But you know there are
It's great.
Band-Aids that are flesh colored.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that.
Well, I feel like if you're going to wear a Band-Aid, you should wear a Band-Aid.
A SpongeBob Band-Aid with the one to give you like a third eye. Can I touch it?
No, don't touch it. I have children, man. I mean, this is all we had at home. But at the same
These
time,
at home.
at the same time,
Glow in the dark,
yeah, it goes in the dark.
so you can find your
You
nose.
want to test it out?
No, not really.
Test it out later. Yeah, basically, you should the flesh colored or the see through the sheer. That's a cop out. It's like, hold on, do you have a Band-Aid on? Oh, you got a Band-Aid on. There's no mistaking.
Well, are you saying
it's
that
the
you-
first thing you see?
Are you
Yes,
saying
I have
you
a Band-Aid
didn't have
on.
flesh colored, or you wanted a SpongeBob Band-Aid?
I didn't have flesh colored or the sheer. That's all I had at my house. But
So you're not making a statement.
and these that I'm gonna be changing into throughout the week here, just because you have to keep it fresh.
Pirates?
You don't want to keep this. You don't want to keep a Band-Aid on for more than 12 hours. I read about this on the internet.
I didn't think you were supposed to use Band-Aids at all because you want the wound to dry out, like the big wound I had on my tush.
That's what I thought, because you told me that. My wife told me the same thing. You were both equally wrong. You're supposed to keep some like ointment, like some antibiotic ointment on it, and keep it covered, and it keeps it kind of nasty and kind of moist, but it causes the skin underneath to form more quickly. That's what happened. Science is happening on my face under this Band-Aid right now. Linkster.
But it takes longer to heal. It would heal without a scar.
No, it heals faster and without a scar. No negatives except having to wear the Band-Aid.
I didn't know. I just thought it was a fashion statement that
And it is also a fashion statement.
kids are addicted to these things, but they don't really help. You learn something.
You know what time it is.
Hi, I'm Alex, and this is Lucy. We're from Reedsburg, Wisconsin, and it's time to spin the wheel of mythicality.
People, we need more wheel videos and wheel ending suggestions from you. Make sure you send those to us with the hashtag GMMWheel.
All right, I got more surfing tragedy to talk about. The same time you did this, I broke a toe Stay tuned. Good Mythical More. You can click through if you want to hear about my toe.
Caught in Sharknado.
Glad we're out here paddleboarding again. Oh, the wind is really picking up. Where did you go? Whoa, this is crazy. Look, there's a shark.
Look at this, I found a surfboard.
Watch out. How does this Sharknado work?
It's broken.
The shark coming. Watch out. Watch out. The board's gonna damage the room. Oh.
You guys see a shark or something over there?
I think the leash went between my toes and then whipped around and basically tried to pull one of my toes off.
Really?
Jason, there you go. Get a close up of that.